Wow, so you take a couple days off, you go on a cruise, and when you get back, the whole cruise world is turned sideways. We're talking cruise chaos, cruise calamity, brawls, carpets, demands for payments, arrests. It makes you wonder, especially when it comes to that fight, what the cluck is going on. Yeah, all that and more on today's episode. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. Welcome to the Cruise Show. I am your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising. It's everything going on in cruising. It's for your face. It's for your face on Monday the 25th of August, 2025. And wow, yeah, I did just get off of the world's largest cruise ship. I think off the world's largest cruise ship, Royal Caribbean Star of the Seas. More about that later. Man, I've caught a lot of grief. I guess I owe people an apology. I will be Stay tuned for the apology. Mea culpa. But first, let's talk about some of the cruise calamity that's going down in a funky town. Story coming off of a Carnival cruise ship in Miami that this couple right here got arrested for credit card fraud for perpetrating allegedly a scheme involving a local grocery store, popular southern grocery store called Winn-Dixie. And they weren't the only arrests that were made. This couple right here accused of using a fraudulent bank card from Brazil to confound the payment systems of Winn-Dixie, using said fraudulent card to purchase thousands of dollars of gift cards, which they used to purchase a Carnival cruise. That was one thing that they used. And apparently they had an accomplice, because a third lady was arrested purchasing a gift card at a Winn-Dixie through fraudulent bank card while on land. Makes you wonder, did these people rat this poor lady out here? I don't know. At least 230 fraudulent transactions involving at least one member of the trio have occurred. And I don't know how many thousands of dollars. But look, they're all arrested now. They're all being held on bond. And it's a tale for all of you criminals. Can I talk to the criminals? Can we have a moment with the criminals out there? Stop doing your criminal stuff. They're going to catch you. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when all these people get caught with this credit card fraud? The computers are smarter than you. So, yeah, anybody out there thinking of committing credit card fraud or gift card fraud or bank card fraud, this is a story to put in your maybe I shouldn't do that book. Man, I just freaked myself out a little bit. I just did a Google search for my address, and page after page of responses came up from a variety of people search engines. And it's just a reminder that my data is out there on the internet. And honestly, my data is probably out there because I consented for it to be out there. There's a huge business of data brokers and data warehouses buying and selling data that you've consented to be on the internet. And the interesting thing is, because you've consented for it to be out there, you can also revoke that consent by reaching out to the data brokers, the data warehouses, and saying, hey, man, take my data out of your database. The only problem is, who are these people? That's why I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the sponsor of today's episode, Incogni. Incogni is a service that works on your behalf to remove your sensitive data off of the internet. They do the interfacing with the data brokers and the data warehouses, and it's super simple. Number one, you sign up with Incogni, you authorize them to work on your behalf, and then you sit back. You sit back and relax as they go out there and send these requests to the data brokers to get your data off of the internet. I've been using Incogni for a while, and as of today, I've had my data removed from 454 of these sites. Excitingly, you can try Incogni for yourself at a discounted rate if you scan the QR code that's on the screen or go to www.incogni.com/La Lido Loca. Use my code La Lido Loca. Save 60% off of your Incogni subscription. Yeah, you got to get your data off the internet. Thank you, Incogni, for sponsoring today's episode. We also have a story of guest angered. Let me tell you about a cruise that essentially was nothing like what everybody booked. Liberty of the Seas was scheduled for a 9-day cruise taking off on the August of the 21st, Thursday, August the 21st. Originally, this cruise was set to depart from Cape Liberty in New Jersey. That was going to be on Thursday, August the 21st. On the 22nd, that was just a few days ago, that was going to be Sea Day. 23rd, they were going to be in Bermuda. 24th, the Sea Day. 25th, they were going to be in St. Martin. 26th, San Juan. 27th, Labadee, Haiti. 28th, Sea Day. 29th, Sea Day. The 30th, they were going to be arriving back in New Jersey. That's a 9-day cruise with a bunch of ports of call. And well, unfortunately, because of several circumstances, or really a couple circumstances, they're only going to go to one of those ports. Just one of those ports. Now, the first issue came about a month ago when Royal Caribbean decided that it would no longer be going to Labadee because of civil unrest there. But hey, that happens. We've seen Labadee come and go off of itineraries. Haiti can be a tumultuous place sometimes. And I'm sure people that were booked on their cruise were like, okay, cool. I get it. I get it. And then, well, a few days before the cruise, we have the appearance of Hurricane Aaron coming up from the south. Making a beeline right there at Bermuda. And if you remember the itineraries, one of the stops was there in Bermuda. And well, the way timing works out sometimes is that it's not good. And the storm made its way toward Bermuda and the eastern seaboard right about the time that that cruise needed to leave. And so they had to hang tight. They had to spend an extra day in Cape Liberty there in Bayonne, New Jersey. And they didn't really tell anybody on board until after they had completed their muster drill, and it was really too late to do anything else. Royal did provide transfers over to New York and to some other sites so that the extra day in port they could do some stuff, but there really was no option apparently for not taking the cruise. So no Bermuda. They're stuck an extra day in New Jersey, and because they're stuck an extra day in New Jersey, now they can't make it to St. Martin on time. And it just spirals downhill. Now, Royal Caribbean recognized that this was going to be a problem, and they did add some onboard credit for all of these cruisers. Guests with an interior ocean view cabin, they got $150. Balcony staterooms, $200. Suite guest, $400. And then they gave additional money for third and fourth guest in a stateroom. That's good compensation, but the final itinerary, a little bit wackadoo, a little change. So 2 days in Cape Liberty, 3 days at sea. They do still get to go to San Juan. Woo! San Juan, and then Turks and Caicos. That's it. They had all those other ports, but it ends up being San Juan, Turks and Caicos, and a bunch of sea days. I think most people probably okay with the compensation that they received. But when you have a cruise that is that drastically changed, do you think there should be something more given? I don't know. I don't. I personally don't think you should get any more given. If you book a cruise during hurricane season, you have to know that your cruise can be altered. Maybe you can make the case that Labadee got changed and therefore something should have happened. But the reality is, hopefully, we're all adults here, that we all, know what we're doing when we book a cruise, when we sign a cruise contract. And look, if we don't read the cruise contract and if we agree to stuff, even though we don't like it, then that's on us. I think it's very generous that they gave any kind of compensation. But the thing's crazy. They're not changing the itinerary willy-nilly. They're changing the itinerary to keep people safe. So if you're out there, giving the cruise line a hard time for keeping you safe, that's just wild. That's just wild. There are people that love just to get stuff, something changed. Yeah, unfortunately, I know people that I just don't even want to go to a restaurant because every time I've been to a restaurant with them, they complain about something, and I really think it's in an attempt to get free stuff. And to me, I think that's horrible. What do you think? When almost every port on your cruise changes, do you think there should be some sort of compensation? Or do you think when you sail during hurricane season, you get what you get? Leave a comment below. There is a shocking story I'm going to share with you later in the episode about a fracas that happened on a cruise ship. This is going to shock you. It was on a Carnival cruise ship. Okay, maybe that's not shocking, but what may shock you is what the fight was over. I can't wait to talk about that, but I do have some less dramatic but still good stories to share with you. Holland America Line has found an interesting use for its old cruise material, not like cruise brochures or anything, but the actual material that was used in their cruise ships. Check this out. These are coasters for your beverages, and these coasters were made from the carpet of cruise ships from a time gone by. Holland America Line has made 12,000 coasters from the carpet of the Oosterdam, the Eurodam, and the New Amsterdam. And as you can tell by looking at the pictures, these souvenirs are distinct. Distinct not only for their design, but distinct that they are also the first recycled carpet product ever offered for sale in the history of the cruise industry. We're breaking grounds here. But no, they're kind of cool looking. If you're interested, they will be going on sale on Holland America cruise ships by the end of 2025. Do you respect the wood? That's a classic line from a TV show. Do you respect wood? Let me ask you that. Anybody can name that tune? Name that TV show? It's the first time it was ever recycled carpet. It's crazy. Celebrity has made an announcement about the godmother of the new Celebrity XL. It's the world's best female chef of 2024, Janaína Torres. She is a Brazilian chef, but world renowned, and she will be the godmother. I think it's a pretty good choice for a godmother. Celebrity is one of those cruise lines that foodies flock to. They do put a lot of stock into the cuisine that they're putting forward. There was a quote from the chef here. I've always believed that fine dining should be accessible, not intimidating. Food brings us together, connecting us through new flavors, tradition, and shared memories. I'm proud to partner with Celebrity Cruises to showcase our culture and cuisine on a global stage. How about that? Congratulations. Are you going on the new Celebrity XL? I don't even know when that comes out, but that's certainly tempting. Now, I do need to clear up a mistake that I have been repeatedly making, and I am oh so embarrassed, or as the French would say, très embarrassed. No, très embarrassed. I've been saying that Star of the Seas is the world's largest cruise ship. And that statement is true. So anytime that I said that, that's true. But then I've kind of been saying the wrong thing when I've been saying that Icon of the Seas was the world's second largest cruise ship. I kind of leaned into an old truth that has led me astray. In olden times, in previous years, whenever Royal Caribbean would release a new cruise ship, they would make it slightly larger than the previous cruise ship so that they could clearly have the title of the world's largest cruise ship. That's certainly the way that it worked for the Oasis class. Well, when it came to the Icon class, they got together in a room and they called up, Dana Carvey, and he said, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna make the Star of the Seas any bigger than the Icon of the Seas. They're like, look, we already got the plans drawn up for Icon of the Seas. Why would we pay an architect to, redo the plans to make Star of the Seas a little bigger? Let's just make it the same size. And then every ship in the Icon class will be the world's largest cruise ship. And that's a bold move. I kind of like it, but I was confused. And so I'm sorry for putting disrespect on Icon's name, saying that Icon was the second largest cruise ship, when in reality, it's also the world's. They're co-world's largest cruise ship. So my mind's blown. When I was in Coco Cay the other day, I wasn't looking at 1 and 2. I was looking at 1 and 1. I was looking at 11. Both of the world's largest cruise ships right there. So apologies to any Royal Caribbean fans out there that were upset with me. And certainly I apologize to the Icon of the Seas for putting disrespect on your name. Star of the Seas, I continue to brag on you as the world's largest cruise ship. Don't fight me over that. Now, I think I do want to talk about the Carnival fight story, and I'm going to drop some clues when it comes to what the fight was about. So, look, I'm going to get to this story PDQ. It happened a few days ago on the Carnival Sunshine, and it happened in one of the food eateries. Now, I think this was captured on video out there on the internet. You just have to go search for it. I'm just going to put a screenshot right here. I think one of the people that captured it was Huey Magoo. I think Huey Magoo captured this. And basically what you see is a lot of people in an eatery raising Cain. They were raising Cain. There was a fracas. It almost looked like an old fight between, Popeye and Bluto. But that's not what it was. but it was a fight nonetheless. Look, I've run out of chicken tender references. They say this fight was over chicken tenders. Now, I don't know how a fight breaks out over chicken tenders. Certainly, it's probably more than the chicken tenders, but maybe it happened around the chicken tenders. And but do you think somebody was like, "Could I get some honey mustard?" And they're like, "No, you got to eat the buffalo sauce." And then that was it. There is a funny thing if you watch the video. It looks like one of the security guards kind of runs away, but then other security guards jump in and break up the fight. One thing you definitely don't want is your security running away from the fight, but it's a dangerous situation. The police were called. The police did an investigation. Apparently there weren't any arrests. Man, this has got to... Carnival has to be hating this, right? How are they going to stop this? They've got to figure out a way to stop this. Nobody wants to see a chicken tender fight. Well, it's probably unfair to say nobody wants to see a chicken tender fight on a cruise ship, because enough people are filming fights that would suggest that people want to see fights on cruise ships, but it's not good. It's not good. It could be entertaining, but it's dangerous and it's not good for cruising. And please stop. Please stop fighting on cruise ships. Figure it out, Carnival. Dang it. You know what I think it could be? Sometimes I like to put malt vinegar on my chicken, and I have had some people give me that look like, "Oh, that smells like that vinegar stinks." You think it could have been a stinky vinegar fight? I don't know. You never know why people are going to pop off. Does Popeyes make chicken tenders? I mean, I know that Wingstop and Chick-fil-A and they all have chicken tenders. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, look, big thanks again to Incogni for sponsoring today's episode. Shout out to all the Loco fam out there. We continue to grow and grow. Subscribe for more of this kooky content. I appreciate you guys watching the show, and it's good to be back. It's good to be back here in the studio doing the cruise show. This is Tony for La Lita Loca, and until the next time, well, I can't go out like that. Look, there's really nothing left to do on today's episode but dance. Get up. Get up.